Artificial intelligence is going to be everywhere, from the home to the enterprise, or at least that's how I see it. I'm Stephen Foskett, publisher of Gestalt IT and organizer of AI Field Day. I also have a podcast called Utilizing AI. In all of these experiences, one of the things that really hits home is the many different ways that artificial intelligence and machine learning and deep learning, expert systems, all of these things are coming to every part of our lives. In the recordings of our Utilizing AI podcast, one of the things that's really struck me is that AI isn't just a new technology that's coming in and going to appear in the future. AI is already here. Most of the companies that we speak to at our Tech Field Day events already have artificial intelligence built into their products in one place or another. The most common thing that they do is using AI as a way to sort through information in order to come up with important or actionable events. There's also a lot of application of machine learning that's been pre-trained on language in order to classify things based on the inspection of other information from other companies. Finally, one of the things that we're seeing is artificial intelligence as a support aid. In other words, companies using machine learning models to abstract information across all of the different companies that that have bought their products in order to surface the most important support issues and anything that happens to be going wrong with the systems in the field. All of these things are happening today, not in the future, but all of them may not be recognizable as applications of AI in the enterprise. That's because many customers don't even realize that they're using artificial intelligence. They think that they just have a good support experience with their product vendor. I think that this is actually a really hopeful trend, but I think that maybe it disguises the direction that AI is taking as this stuff is being rolled out. One of the other lessons from our Utilizing AI podcast is that AI is not displacing people's jobs. It's not replacing people. In fact, it's not actually really replacing anything that people ever did. Instead, AI is being used as a co-pilot, an assistant to help companies do things they were never able to do before. Let's think, for example, of a security system for network intrusion detection. Before, for the most part, the network intrusion detection systems would apply some rules to the logs from various network devices and would basically throw out anything that it couldn't act on and throw out anything that it hadn't seen before. Nowadays, a lot of these systems are actually using a machine learning algorithm to take more data from those remote devices, do more processing, and look for more interesting things. In other words, they're using machine learning to do something they could never do before. And that, I think, is the key to the way that AI is appearing in the modern data center. The next step beyond using AI to power applications is bringing applications of AI to the business of the customer. In other words, trying to figure out how to build and support artificial intelligence-driven applications that don't just support the IT infrastructure, but actually move the business of the business forward. This, I think, is the next great challenge in enterprise AI. And this is something that we're starting to see with some of the companies that are joining us on the Utilizing AI podcast and presenting at AI Field Day. Many of them are building new products and new technologies that support AI applications in the enterprise, that provide storage for the massive volumes of data that we're talking about, that process that data in unique and novel ways, whether it's on dedicated ASIC processors or general purpose CPUs, GPUs, or even FPGAs. Finally, we're starting to see a whole crop of applications that are developed to act as sort of a supporting lattice for enterprise AI applications. Things like a feature store, for example, or an AI deployment framework that works with Kubernetes. These applications are essential to basically build the platform that will enable enterprise to deploy their own homegrown AI applications. But for now, that's the future. So to sum it up, AI is everywhere in enterprise IT. It's already appeared across the spectrum in terms of supporting role in IT infrastructure. But the next wave, and the thing that we're really excited about, is seeing how these applications will come to support the business. And for me, that's what I'm going to be looking for at AI Field Day this year, next year, and in the future. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Checksum. If you enjoy these episodes, please check out the Gestalt IT YouTube channel at youtube.com/gestaltitvideo. Also, please go to gestaltit.com and subscribe to our email newsletter so you won't miss an episode of the Checksum, the Conversations series, or our weekly rundown of the news in enterprise IT. Thanks for joining me.